Welcome back to Unity using Nottorus Visual Scripting. This tutorial, part 2, will include just fixing everything, basically centering the graphs, making sure the squares work or the cubes, and just finishing up kind of everything we need to do. So in here, what we want to do is we're going to start making sure that, we need to make sure that both the, we're getting the squares set up, and then we also need to do the flat hex types as well. So there's a couple of different things we're going to do, and then we probably need to fix up kind of centering each of those type of graphs to the center of world coordinates. So that's where we're starting off, and first thing we want to do is put an if statement here in kind of the world coordinates, so we can kind of change things up based on if it's a hex or not. So what we did is they added an if statement, said if hex is true, then we'll continue on down with what we already had. If it's false, then we'll kind of shoot over here to doing it for a square grid instead, or a cube, however you want to look at that. Anyways, so we're still going ahead using the x1 and z1 variables that we had before. What we're going to do is throw together a framework to see if we can get the square grid going, and what we may have to do is come back and massage this map a little bit to center it properly in the world coordinates. So we'll just get some of them thrown together here to make sure that the grid works, and then we'll move on to the flat hexes. Similar to how we did the hexes, we need to pull in the starting location of both the x and the z and feed that into the values or the local variables. So we have the initial position, and we have the world coordinate positions. Got all of our math set up. Let me rearrange these canvas a little bit. My OCD gets to me. I have to always move the little grids to where they need to go. Anyways, here we go. We're going to feed, kind of return the values of these to calculating the world coordinates there. So let's see what it looks like. So what we're going to do is, I guess that's not resizable there, so let me just get that off screen. So what we'll do is put our cube in here, and we'll uncheck if it's a hex, obviously, and then we'll run it and see what we get. So, looks like it did something. It definitely created it. There it is. Definitely not at 0 coordinates, but there's our grid. Perfect. So that's good. So what we're going to do next is probably come over here and start. Well, first thing we want to probably do is name those hexes, because you know they're all the same, and what we really want to do is name them properly. So when they're instantiated, they have a unique name. Feed in the for loop into here, or the value of the for loop where it's iterating, and then the other one over here. So we have both the height and the width values basically that they're iterating through, and we'll set that to the name of the game object itself. What we also probably want to do is get a list of game objects. We may need those for later. We do an array or a list, or some kind of dictionary or something. I find a list to be a little bit easier. So what we're going to do is grab a list of game objects. And just get a component of the children. So we're going to get a big list of children. We're going to feed it into this for loop here for everything that's a child of Game Board Manager. We're going to grab and feed it into a list of tiles. So we're going to create a list of tiles of type list. Try a list of game objects, but we will have to probably change that to a list of tiles. What we're probably going to have to do is create another script here in a second to pick up on that, but let's put this together. Finding the list of options, or the options of list, is a pain. Down here in the directory structure, we'll need add, sometimes contain, etc. are painful to find. We may want to add those as favorites later on if we determine we use them a lot. But we've got add list, plug our list of tiles in there. The windows. There's a few too many local variables I just created. There we go. All right, delete those, rename those. So we're going to just count through. It's the child count. It's our counter. So here's where we're going to need to create a tile. It's going to be just a regular generic tile script. We're not going to put any logic in here right now. Pop in the namespace there, remove the update and start. It's pretty much empty. It's just so we can pick up on it. get component. We will maybe add more logic in there later, like, hey, is this a hex tile or a square tile, and maybe a part of the pathfinding system or something like that, but to be determined. We should be able to grab our game tile now that we compiled the other one. Found that, no problem. Nottorus does have a problem with detecting that, so I have to relink it. There we go. And then we got the game tile. We'll make a game object out of it, or grab the game object of itself and feed that into the list. There, so now we should have an array of game objects. Now it shouldn't matter if the tiles are X's, it should just do it. So now all the names are looking good. We have tile X, wherever the row and column are, those are named appropriately now. That's awesome. Oh, I forgot to add the tile script to each of the prefabs, and we do have the nested prefabs in 2018.3 beta, so we're using that. So we need to change each of our nested prefabs, or our prefabs themselves, so they have that game tile script on them. There we go. Now we should be able to pick up on that array or list. Sure, that's fine. See. Ooh, that's a bit many. We shouldn't have quite that many. Something went awry. Yeah, what we're doing is we're running it from the wrong location. We need to run it from the finish of the first for loop. So once the first for loop is completed, then we'll get the connected into the for each loop for adding it into the list of objects. So we'll kind of move this down below. Now that should be a little bit better. We should have a few less objects in our list. Perfect. Yeah, that's the right number. Good. Still not centering our map correctly, but the names look good. The array looks good. Awesome. So let's go back in and work on the flat hex versus pointy hex, right? So we use a lot of the same game logic here. We'll just have to rearrange some of the math to account for if it's a pointy guy or not. So there's pointy. That's true, right? We already have the pointy stuff. Then what we're going to need to do is, if that's false, we'll need to deal with the flatness of the hexes themselves, right? So the math will be a little bit different. So we'll just use the same local variables. And set up our equations just a little bit differently. should populate x1, and we'll feed that into the position. Now we'll do the same thing for the z1 variable, local variable. We'll use the offset here since it's the hex grid. It's just going to be a basically different direction of the offset, or different way of using it since they're flat instead of pointy. Compile this and see what it looks like. So change on the board manager, we're going to uncheck or check mark is pointy. We will change it to a flat. And that didn't quite turn out right. It's close, but something's a little off. Change that. Alright. There we go. Nice. So flat and pointy are now working. Add a little gap in there. See what it looks like. Nice. Adds the gap. Looks good. Looks all square, even. It's funky. Let's see if our cubes work, or squares. They do, but they're still not centered. So that's still working, but we need to center the cubes correctly. Just play with this, see if this works. Everything else I think looks fine. That's centered correctly as well, so that comes up perfect. So let's fix this. Let's clear out that the stuff in our square logic and just kind of start over. I've basically cleared that out, and I'm going to redo it. It's in the calculate world coordinates method, and we're going to redo the math logic here a little bit. There we go. That's a little bit better. I know that one will work. I had to go back and kind of think about that for a second. Divide this by 2 as well, so we can center everything. let's change that to the multiplication and connect it. So Reese did X1 and Z1 for the squares. Had that a little off, so now it should center it correctly. Let's make sure that's a square, and go ahead and try it out. Should pop it right there. Alright, perfect. Just notice that everything looks all centered. It's awesome. Alright, that about wraps everything up. Thank you very much. Appreciate you watching.